Hi, I'm Tony Lair. In this video, I'll be showing you how to do monochromatic coloring using Eco Flo leather dyes. Monochromatic means using just one color. Many different shades or hues of the one color can be used to achieve realistic and dynamic effects. These samples show the use of one color, timber brown leather dye. However, any color can be used. To get started, first set up your workspace and assemble the necessary supplies. For smaller detailed projects, such as the one I'll be coloring, I recommend a number 4 good quality, small, round, fine point natural or synthetic brush. You will also need a container of clean water, a dye palette, eyedroppers, paper towels, and practice leather pieces cut from the same leather as your project. For more information on supplies and help with setting up your workspace, see our video Setting Up a Workspace for Background Dyeing, the Shading Blending Technique, and Detail Work. Select your one dye color from the 16 pre-mixed Eco Flo leather dyes, or you can mix your own custom color. If you decide to mix your own custom color, be sure to mix enough dye to complete your project. Keep a record of your dye formula just in case you need to mix more. If you want your project to look realistic and multi-dimensional, establish a light direction. Where the imaginary light source hits your design will be the lightest colors. The opposite side will be the darkest. I'll be using the shading and blending technique to color my design. For more information on this technique, see our video on shading and blending. Remember, when coloring with one or more hues, always follow the rule of thumb, work light to dark. To achieve realistic shading on my design, I'll be using 3 hues of timber brown leather dye. Transfer dye from the bottle to a dye palette with an eyedropper. Be sure to mix more than enough of each hue to complete your project. Use a separate clean eyedropper for the water. For the lightest mixture, I'm using 1/4 dye to 3/4 water. The middle mixture is 2/3 dye to 1/3 water. The darkest hue is full strength. Test your dye mixture formulas on a piece of practice leather, the same leather you used on your project. Allow mixtures to dry completely so you can see their true color. I'm using the dry brush technique so I can control the flow of dye better. Dry brushing involves removing most of the dye from a brush, then stroking the brush lightly over the surface of a design, allowing only a very small amount of dye to penetrate into the leather. Apply a base coat of the lightest mixture over the design, defining details of the stem, leaves, and flower, as well as light direction and shadows. Allow some natural leather to show where light would be hitting edges of the design. This pencil sketch illustrates where I'll be applying the lightest hue mixture. Let the dye dry completely between mixture applications so you can see the true shading effect. Now I'm using the middle mixture to strengthen the shadow areas and shapes in the design. This pencil sketch illustrates where I'll be applying the middle hue mixture. Let your project dry completely so you can see the true shading. I'm using full strength dye as a third application to intensify, emphasize, and finalize details and shadows. If you have small spaces to color, flatten the tip of the brush by stroking it on a piece of leather and use the sharp edge to get into very tight corners. A smaller brush can also be used for tight spaces. Turn your project so you can get to all areas of your design easily. This pencil sketch illustrates where I'll be applying the darkest full-strength dye. Let your project dry completely, then add more shading wherever necessary. Protect your monochromatic coloring work by applying a top coat finish. To avoid smears and color rub-off, I recommend Super Sheen spray. For more information about coloring using Eco Flo products, see our book, Coloring with Eco Flo, and our how-to videos.